All right, Bill. Well, this was one of the great sights, Jim, of the Open so far, and a testimony to what Younes El Aynaoui, who has done this all year on the biggest stages in tennis, has put on spectacular shows.
He sure has, and up to this match, certainly yet to win one. A match in Australia with Andy Roddick was epic in the quarterfinals. Over on the grandstands, court packed, 6,500 strong for the Czech player Jiri Novak, the number 10 seed, and from Morocco, Younes El Aynaoui. And what a story El Aynaoui is, Ted. When you talk about a Cinderella story, coming over to Balotelli's academy to work and be able to play.
Well, against the wishes of his family.
Right.
Left Morocco, family angry at him, and he just showed up there. They didn't really want him. You remember him there, Jim?
I do. He's a very gifted athlete. He wasn't much of a tennis player when he got there, but man, we'd have soccer matches on Saturdays, and well, this guy was an exceptional athlete, and he's worked his way into being one of the best tennis players on the planet.
Do you remember him driving the bus? Which is
well, I wasn't in school by then. I was already out on the tour, but I certainly recall when he came there, and you know, all the scholarship players had certain chores, but he wasn't a scholarship player. He was an employee who was moonlighting as a tennis player.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, I was checking, you know, making sure everyone was in bed at 10 o'clock when I was on scholarship there. He was actually driving the bus, taking kids to and from school.
There, El Aynaoui gets the set to a tiebreak, and I thought it was interesting that here in New York this weekend, as you see this raucous grandstand crowd, there was another interesting chapter that El Aynaoui let out about his background.
Yeah.
Which, this is amazing reaction.
Yeah, it's only 6-all.
I know he's
set here, by the way.
He's just warming up.
Yeah, fairly fit.
You know, after a couple of struggling years on tour, El Aynaoui needed ankle surgery, comes to New York, can't afford real nice stay. He stays at a Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah, couldn't afford
with his family.
Couldn't sublease apartment. Yeah, a Ronald McDonald House. Talk about from a pauper to a prince. $65,000 to if he wins this match. He was paying $25 a night for he and his wife to stay in the Ronald McDonald House.
And that was just a scant 6 years ago. Look where he is now.
Yeah, you think this guy hasn't earned every bit of this glory that he's getting right now?
And you know him, Jim. How much does he appreciate it?
Well, and he always has. That's the thing. From where he's coming from, he's always never expected much, and it's always been a bonus to him. Shot. He breaks his racket there in disgust. And that backhand has been a liability for him for so many years, but he's really learned how to disguise it and hide it now with an effective slice. His forehand and his serve have been his calling cards as a professional, and his speed, certainly, athleticism. And now all of New York is also knowing that his emotion is a big part of what he brings to the table.
2-1, El Aynaoui.
It's amazing contrast, isn't it? This stoic Novak.
Novak not known to be demonstrative out there at all, Ted. Just very much a business-like player. Very effective player, both in singles and doubles. Very smooth. And that was a crucial mistake for Novak, the unforced error.
3-2, El Aynaoui.
And how about El Aynaoui the week before this tournament playing in Long Island, Ted, and his wife delivers birth to their third child, a son, Noam, in France. But he's here working.
He's seen pictures only by email.
That's right. Not unlike a soldier who's away on behalf of his country's duties. And will tell the child the story when he comes back from, if it's war or whatever it is. This is Younes is on duty in New York City.
And his section inspiring the chant we hear more often in Europe, be it at the French Open or really any European sporting event. Creating just a marvelous atmosphere.
They're hanging over the rafters on the grandstand. This is without question the match of the tournament thus far.
And not only did El Aynaoui play the memorable Roddick match in Australia, but he had a hard-fought, wildly entertaining 4-set match with Agassi in the 3rd round at Wimbledon this year. And the players left center court to a standing ovation, a 3rd round match.
Ted, I think wildly entertaining really is what describes the match, is what he's brought to the tour this year. Virtually every stop, his matches just, people are talking about them. They have to be if they've seen them. How nice is that volley from Novak? And you know what, though, now a lot of players, they throw their racket, they break a racket. You see, what about their attitude? With him, it's never done with bad spirit. Here he tosses his racket just in recognition of the phenomenal effort from his opponent. Look at that stretch right here. The big man, Novak, is a pretty tall guy, very agile.
5-3, El Aynaoui.
It is a gift, isn't it?
He just lets you in. He brings you into his moment.
And then Novak following that terrific point with an ace. Well, this is just a wonderful example of where men's tennis is, that if people are willing to open themselves a little bit to get past the names, there's some great players.
Thank you for saying that, Ted. It's a perfect example of a match with two guys that they're not American players. These are not your marquee players. This is not a stadium night match. And yet look at the crowd. The people who are here will go home and they will tell 10 people about this match. You know, if you get to see these matches and experience them, you know, people have suggested that there hasn't been the star power on the men's side. It's been all on the women's side. I say, come see for yourself. Open your eyes up to the possibilities.
And you know, as great as 21-19 in the 5th set Australia was, Jim, maybe I'm waffling a bit, but I like the contrast, and there's something great about this 5th set tiebreak at the Open.
Yeah, I don't want to lose either. I love it here in the Open where you have the sudden death. It's so New York, isn't it?
That's what I think.
There's a sense of urgency that is New York City. But it's nice to have that in Paris. You certainly want that chess match going out to 8-6, 10-8 in the 5th.
Thank you.
And there, he can finally rejoice in winning one of these.
He's been so magnanimous in defeat. Finally, Ted, you're right. Able to walk off the court with his hands held high and a win, because he's walked off before with his hands held high, but look at this emotion.
And his own victory leap. And how often would you say this, Jim, at the U.S. Open, a man from Morocco and a man from the Czech Republic leave him standing?
It hasn't happened too often, but again, I mean, when you have guys that have this much charisma and this much heart and soul and give everything that they have to the battle, you'll get matches like this. And that's a 3rd round match. That's not Super Saturday. But that's as good as you'll see.
And El Aynaoui, one of a handful of players that on this Tuesday